me ask you something. Why do you exercise? Seriously, if I took the scale away tomorrow, if you could never lose another pound, never change your clothing size, never see your body physically change again, would you still work out? And if your answer is no, I think that's worth talking about. But let me ask you a second question. If you're not strength training right now, why not? Maybe your answer is, I don't need to lose weight. Or the gym just isn't for me. I'm not a fitness person. I've never really been interested in working out. If that's you, I'm talking to you too. Because although these sound like two completely different groups of people, I actually think they have the same problem. One group sees exercise primarily as a tool for weight loss. The other group sees exercise as something that only matters if you want to lose weight. But both groups are operating under the exact same belief that the primary purpose of strength training is to make your body smaller. And I don't think that's true. In fact, I think it's one of the biggest misconceptions in fitness. Because if weight loss is the only reason you're strength training, eventually you're probably gonna quit. Not because you're lazy, not because you lack discipline, but because weight loss is an outcome. And outcomes are unpredictable. The scale stalls, progress slows, life gets busy, hormones change, stress happens. And if the only reward you're getting from training is seeing a smaller number on the scale, eventually you're gonna ask yourself, why am I still doing this? I've been coaching for over 10 years now, and I've noticed something, that the people who stick with strength training long-term rarely stay because of weight loss. Sure, that's often what gets them through the door, but somewhere along the way, their why changes. Because they realize the gym isn't really about becoming smaller. It's about becoming stronger. So whether you're someone who trains for weight loss or someone who has never stepped foot in a gym because you thought fitness simply wasn't for you, this conversation is for both of you. Because strength training isn't just for people trying to lose weight. It's for everybody. And today, I'm gonna give you 5 reasons to strength train that have absolutely nothing to do with the scale. Let's get into it. Reason number 1, independence. The first reason is independence. And I know that doesn't sound very sexy. Nobody sees a thumbnail on YouTube that says, become more independent as you age, and immediately clicks on it. But hear me out. Strength is freedom. It's freedom to live your life on your terms. It's carrying your own groceries. It's putting your suitcase in the overhead compartment without needing help. It's getting up and down off the floor with your kids or grandkids. It's traveling, hiking, gardening, climbing stairs, moving furniture, playing with your dog. These things don't seem like a big deal when you're young and healthy because we assume we'll always be able to do them. But the truth is, we don't automatically stay capable as we age. Beginning around our 30s, we naturally start losing muscle mass if we don't actively work to maintain it. And eventually, the things that once felt effortless become difficult. I think most of us have had that moment with a parent or grandparent where we realize, wow, they're not as physically capable as they used to be. Strength training is one of the few things we can do that directly impacts how independent we remain later. It's not just about adding years to your life. It's about adding life to your years. And future you deserves that. Reason number 2, confidence. Number 2 is confidence. And no, I'm not talking about confidence because you finally fit into a smaller pair of jeans. I'm talking about something much deeper. There is something incredibly powerful about becoming physically capable. Because every time you learn a new skill, every time you pick up a heavier weight, every time you do something that once intimidated you, you collect evidence. Evidence that you're stronger than you thought. Evidence that you can learn. Evidence that you can adapt. Evidence that you can do hard things. And that changes people. I've seen it happen over and over again. People walk into the gym convinced they're weak, unathletic, not a gym person, and then 6 months later, they're doing the things they never imagined they could do. Not because they suddenly became a different person, but because they stopped believing the story that they couldn't. Strength training has a way of changing the relationship you have with yourself. You stop viewing your body as something that's constantly failing you, and you start seeing it as something incredibly capable. Reason number 3, resilience. Number 3 is resilience because, well, life is hard. The gym doesn't make life easier, but I do think it teaches us how to handle hard things better. When you strength train, you voluntarily choose discomfort. You practice being uncomfortable. You learn that discomfort isn't dangerous. You learn patience. You learn consistency. You learn progress that is rarely linear. You learn that some days you feel amazing and then some days you won't, but showing up still matters. You learn that failing isn't the end of the story. You simply adjust and try again. And those lessons don't stay in the gym. They show up everywhere. In your work, in your relationships, parenthood, stress, grief, life. The weight room becomes this strange little laboratory where we practice overcoming challenges. And I think that's incredibly valuable for everyone. Reason number 4, health. And honestly, I think muscle is one of the most underrated organs in the body. People spend so much time trying to lose fat that they forget to build the very thing that helps them stay healthy. But muscle does so much more than simply help us look toned. Muscle improves blood sugar regulation. It supports bone density. It improves balance and coordination. It reduces the risk of falls as we age. It helps us recover from illness and injuries. It supports our metabolism. And the research on this is actually pretty incredible. Study after study shows that people with higher levels of muscle mass and strength tend to live longer and have a lower risk of dying from all causes, not just heart disease or cancer, but overall. Grip strength alone, which researchers often use as a proxy for overall strength, is so strongly associated with health outcomes that some researchers have called it a biomarker of aging. In other words, stronger people tend to stay healthier, more capable, and more independent as they age. We also know that adults who participate in resistance training have lower risk of developing type 2 diabetes, osteoporosis, frailty, and age-related loss of muscle and function. And here's what I find fascinating. As we get older, losing muscle isn't just about becoming weaker. It can literally mean losing the ability to live independently. The difference between someone in their 70s who strength trains and someone who doesn't can be the difference between traveling, hiking, getting off the floor, and living on their own, or needing assistance for basic daily activities. That's huge. You don't need to care about aesthetics. You don't need to want abs. You don't need to want to lose weight. Wanting to feel good, wanting to move well, wanting to stay healthy for as long as possible. Those are more than enough reasons. Reason number 5, your body is for living. The 5th reason is probably the most important. Your body is for living your life, not just looking at. I think a lot of us, especially women, have spent years viewing our bodies primarily as projects. Things to shrink, fix, improve, perfect. And while there is absolutely nothing wrong with having physique goals, I think we lose something when that's the only way we relate to our bodies. Because your body does so much more than simply exist to be looked at. Your body allows you to experience your life. It lets you hug the people you love, dance at weddings, explore new places, play, work, create, carry children, carry groceries, laugh, cry, heal, live. Strength training to me is an act of gratitude. It's a way of saying, this body carries me through my entire life. I'm gonna take care of it. Not because it needs to become smaller, but because it's mine and because it's worth taking care of. So where do you go from here? Maybe you're sitting there thinking, okay, Hannah, I get it. Strength training is important, but I still have absolutely no idea where to start. That's fine. That's great. You're not alone. You do not need to overhaul your entire life tomorrow. In fact, please don't. You don't need the perfect program. You don't need to train 6 days a week. You don't need to become a fitness person overnight. You just need to start. And if I were gonna simplify this into 3 steps, here's what I would do. Step 1, decide where you're gonna train. At home? Great. In a gym? Great. It genuinely does not matter. The best workout location is the one you'll actually use consistently. If you're planning to train at home and don't know what equipment you need, I'll link my home gym essentials video below. Step 2, learn the basics. You don't need 50 exercises. You need a handful of foundational movement patterns done really well. Squat, hinge, push, pull, carry. Master those and you're already ahead of most people. I'll also link my video on the best compound exercises for building muscle because that's where I would start. And step 3, give yourself permission to be a beginner. You are supposed to be bad at things when you first start. Everyone in the gym was once new. Everyone had a day one. The people who succeed aren't the people who start perfectly. They're the people who keep showing up enough to improve. And maybe that's a challenge I want to leave you with. I want you to ask yourself, if I took weight loss completely off the table, would I still take care of my body? Would I still move? Would I still train? Would I still prioritize my health? Because if the answer is no, I think it's worth asking why. And if you've never strength trained because you thought fitness wasn't for people like you, I want to challenge that belief. This week, do one thing. 1, go for a walk. Learn one exercise. Buy a pair of dumbbells. Walk into a gym. Do one workout, just one. Because you do not have to become a different person overnight. You just have to become a slightly stronger version of yourself than you were yesterday. That's what strength training is about. And trust me, future you will thank you. I'll see you in the next one.